Hey, how's it going? I'm just boiling some water and I've got a bit of a wait and I thought I'd just use the time to fill the quick void in my videos about kitchen knives, which I don't generally talk about a huge amount. I'm not an expert on kitchen knives, but I use a lot of them. I use a lot of knives, I use a lot of different steels, so I've got some thoughts. So I've just got 5 good kitchen knives that I've got a lot of use on that I'd really recommend to just about anyone. I'm going to cover all the different prices and all the different types, I guess. But I guess first a couple of things about my preferred kitchen knife use. I prefer a kitchen knife that is able to, I know this is heresy, withstand a couple of trips through the dishwasher every now and then.
Wait, that's illegal.
Yeah, but it does happen. In my household, I've got a busy house, I've got kids who sometimes might help out and put the dishwasher on, you know, whatever. Sometimes it just happens, right? So I don't want super fragile kitchen knives that'll fall apart at the handle and at the joins and things like that if they take a trip through the wash. Dishwashing is not good for kitchen knives, I know that, but yeah, that's just something I thought I would acknowledge first up. And also I generally feel like, as an average jackass, which is what I am, I think you need just 3 good kitchen knives. 3 good kitchen knives. You need a petty knife, you need like a veg knife or a santoku style knife maybe, and then you need your chef's knife. So those are the 3 knives that sort of get everything done for me, and I've got a couple of examples of most of those 3 knives that I'm going to show you today. So let's get into it. So we're going to start off with a petty knife that I've really been enjoying lately, and this is actually my wife's favorite knife. This is a Frost Mora. Small cook's knife, I think it's called. I don't know what the name is. If I can find it, I'll put it up on the screen. This is in the Sandvik Swedish steel, so I guess 12C27 or 12C26. It holds a really good edge. It's really nice and thin, and these are cheap, and they've got really comfortable handles. Big handles, rubberized handles that withstand the dishwasher nice and easily, and it's got the good geometry on it that's going to, you know, last even once the absolute edge is dull. The geometry on the blade is going to do a lot of that cutting, as any good kitchen knife should. So that's the first knife I'm going to suggest, is these Frost Cutlery kitchen knives. I'd say even if you got a full set of these 3 different sizes, that'd probably meet most of your kitchen needs. Yeah, the steels aren't going to hold their edge for as long as, say, ZDP 189 or Magna Cut or maybe even VG10, but it's good stuff. It's going to be forgiving, and it's going to take a, you know, your average guy's use really happily. Next up is a Santoku knife that I've got years of experience with. This is the Falcon Even White Whale. So this is a thicker kitchen knife, so it's got a fair bit of spine to it, and this is a knife that you really can sort of push and use as like a guillotine. You really cleave down on stuff with this. It can actually double as a bit of a cleaver almost. It's nice and tall, and it's a little bit of a heavier blade as well. It's in VG10 steel. It's got a TPE style handle, the thermopropylene type rubberized plastic, and again, survives the trips through the dishwasher, no worries at all. That does dull the blade. I think we all know that the powdery dishwasher tablet liquids and things generally do dull knife blades. It's one of the main reasons why you don't put them in the dishwasher. But this one has put up with that just fine. It's every now and then it's got a couple of rust spots, but I've been able to wipe those off with some really fine emery paper or something like that. It's okay, they're just for composting. It's a good lifelong edge, like it lasts, you know, pretty long before sharpening again, especially if you're just using it on food. Comfortable handle, generally really high quality standards. More on the pricey side, you're going to pay like mid 200s for this knife here. Some people don't like knife brands, I mean just general knife brands as kitchen knives. I get that, but I'd certainly give Falcon Evens a try if you haven't really actually tried it yet and you're just kind of talking. So I thought the same until I tried a couple of Spyderco and a couple of Falcon Even kitchen knives. Really happy with them all so far. Next up is a great chef's knife, a great entry-level, good cost, but really good quality chef's knife. And this is the Victorinox Fibrox range. So the Fibrox range of the Victorinox chef's knives are about the basic good chef knife that you can get, in my opinion. I know that Dick's and probably Frost's make other similar ones, but these have the geometries behind them. They've got nice tall blades, and this is like your 8 to 9 inch chef knife. They've got a few different sizes. This is the 8, I believe. Yeah, just eyeballing it, it would be the 8. It's got the Victorinox steel, like the 1.4110 type steel, which is a fine kitchen knife steel. They last in the dishwasher, they're very forgiving, and you know, they've got a little bit more thickness, more sort of less flex to them, a little bit more in a chopping style knife as well as a chef's and just all-purpose meat, fish, vegetable type knife as well. The main reason I like to have two good knives out at a time, is so you don't have to keep washing in between cutting up, your raw chicken, then cutting up your vegetables, and you can get a bit lost that way. So, and I just like to have the two different blade shapes for that purpose. Another really good chef knife, and this is sort of my better chef knife, I suppose, on the recommendation of a friend, because a friend that knew that I, every now and then might accidentally run them through the dishwasher, and I don't do it all the time, but sometimes it happens. This is the Sora knives, the Shun Knives Sora 8-inch chef knife. So this is a VG10 steel, as is the Falcon Even, and yeah, it's got a really, really thin grind to it, and this is like your ultimate sort of performance kitchen knife. I'm sure there are higher performing chef knives, I know there are in fact, but for something that you don't want to spend more than like $150 on, I got this on sale for like a crazy like $85 or something from Knife Shop Australia, or Kitchen Warehouse, or one of the biggest stores that sells a whole bunch of knives. So if you can see it for that price, then absolutely go for it. It's got a plastic style handle, which has been very resilient to the occasional misuse that it gets. The blade has lasted a really good long time, and again, the geometry is what's going to cut with all knives, but especially with kitchen knives. Even though this edge right now, it's not absolutely biting into my nail, actually it's still pretty sharp, but even when the edge is between sharpenings, the thinness of the blade really does push it through most foods really, really well. So really recommend this. It's a great all-purpose, nice feeling, nice seeming, sort of a bit of a step up if you don't just want the boring old Victorinox. Kind of similar performance, slices and cuts slightly better, but it's going to take a good amount of punishment as well. So really recommend the Sora by Shun Knives. And then lastly, the last knife I'll talk about, and the last kind of category of knife I'll talk about, are the sort of more premium, maybe handmade, maybe custom made, maybe made to spec sort of knives. This is a petty knife, and it's made by a small maker called Gary Creeley. This is a chisel ground, so it's the bevel on one side, and then the other side is just flat, which is a type of knife grind that's on lots of kitchen knives because it helps push the food away. When you're cutting like into some stiff sausage or some cheese or something, just a little bit of grind gives the food a bit of a push off of the surface, so you don't get as much stick. So it's the reason why lots of kitchen knives are chisel ground like that. This is in MagnaCut steel, which is one of the best, if not the overall best, knife steels for all purposes. And MagnaCut is almost rust proof in my experience. This one has been through the dishwasher, it's done all the bad things as well. Whilst I'm probably not supposed to have done that, the G10 handles and the MagnaCut blade have been basically impervious to everything I've thrown at it. And the edge lasts for ages because MagnaCut has really good edge retention, especially compared to most other kitchen knives. Most kitchen knives are going to have good but basic stainless steels, often stainless Japanese steels. They're often going to be VG10, they're going to be SUS 410 with a core of maybe super blue inside, things like that. So either a laminated and then a core steel, or just an overall decent core steel. You can get Cutlery X and ZDP 189 Japanese kitchen knives, you can, but they're really expensive and you'll pay a whole lot for them, even from production companies. Like Shun will sell you a ZDP knife for about the same price as Cutlery will sell you a hand-done knife in MagnaCut. So the steels do exist, but you just have to really pay for them. So this is a pretty cool way of getting yourself a unique and really interesting and really quite performance-driven steel in your chef's knife. Hit up a small maker, check the reviews. I endorse Gary Creeley. All of the stuff that I've ever got from him has been fabulous, and yeah, that's something you might need to do a bit more research, get on the forums about. But there's a certain kind of, especially in the home kitchen, especially when you're talking about the family pans and things like that. Something about almost heirloomy gear is kind of an appealing prospect in the kitchen to me as well. So a lot of the kitchen knives you just sort of burn through. Something like this is going to last you probably half a lifetime or something like that, if not a full lifetime. So there you go. Anyway, certainly not an expert on any of this, but just as someone who uses knives, knows sort of a bit about steels and things, thought you might find it a bit of an interesting topic while the water came to a boil. And there it is. All right guys, see you in the next video. Goodbye.